Hey there. Today I'm going to read you my children's book, James and the Fireburn, which is a human rights and it's an anti-bullying book that is inspired by Caribbean history. And I love the illustrations by Barbara Jendersick. And here goes. And I'll talk a little bit about it afterwards, the inspiration and a message for the kids as well. So here we go. James and the Fireburn. One more battle, one more time. I don't know if I can make it, said James in his mind. You see, James was different, or at least that's what he thought. He didn't seem to fit in well, and he was alone a lot. The doctors called it Asperger's and said that James was smart, but also that due to this, from social groups, he'd part. There wasn't anything wrong with him. This, you see, is true. But when it came to making friends, James didn't have a clue. Whether he was in class, on the bus, or even in the lunchroom, James was sitting by himself, alone and filled with gloom. Mom and Dad were puzzled because James was handsome and smart. He was their joy, their clever boy, and always in their heart. His sister also could not relate, for she had friends galore. On Monday 10, on Tuesday 20, and Wednesday, even more. James hid his sadness every day behind his apps and books. He played his games all day and night. They surely had him hooked. He gamed and read and gamed a large part of his day. Oh, James, please stop, his parents begged. You'd think it was a crime. Go outside and play with your friends, forgetting he had none. Or, come watch a movie with your folks. We promise it'll be fun. No one seems to understand, so silent I must be. If I share what happens in school, things will get worse for me. Teasing, pushing, and rejection. The bullies call me names. Maybe they'll just go away if I just play my games. Head down, keep silent. Don't say a single word. If I dare say anything, I know I won't be heard. This was James's difficult life, day in and day out, head down and silent. Not a word from his mouth. School wasn't all bad though. James really was a brain. Learning came so easy for him, something not all kids can claim. He loved reading, music, history. He did well in math too. But history was extra special because his teacher was Miss Lulu. Miss Lulu was something else, beautiful in every way. The girls wanted to be like her, and the boys, well, let's just say. History class arrived. Time to take a seat. James was front and center, his desk tidy and neat. Miss Lou took her place at the head of the bright room. Her smile, warm and welcoming, lifted James's gloom. The students paid attention, ready for her to start. When, much to their surprise, she pulled out a piece of art. The picture was kind of scary, with 4 women looking mean. One held a torch, 2 held knives, and the 4th was fierce and lean. What was Miss Lou up to? What was she trying to prove? All the students sat in awe. None even tried to move. James and the others listened as Miss Lou began to speak. When she pointed to the picture, all the students took a peek. The Fireburn is history, she said. A story not too many people know. It happened in the Caribbean a long, long time ago. October 1st, 1878, to be even more exact. The Danish West Indies they were then called, and that really is a fact. St. Thomas, St. Croix, and St. John, as they are known today. These are the U.S. Virgin Islands, and they are here to stay. Times were bad, they really were, she said with a soft voice. The people were now wrapped in chains and didn't have a choice. The island had become a dark place, a place of slavery, although many had fought to avoid it with might and bravery. They were tortured, they were abused, and each felt so worn out. They were owned by others who'd beat them and then would loudly shout, "Get back to work right this instant, you lazy, worthless bum!" This was their life, day in, day out. It made them feel so dumb. Without a soul to turn to, in silence they would toil. The owners thought this normal for slaves to work the soil. Years went by and many tried to change these evil rules. Nothing changed. The slaves were kept and still used just like mules. Then it finally happened. Slavery was abolished in 1848. The people were no longer slaves. They'd always remember that date. Freedom had finally come. They celebrated with music, food, and dance. No longer slaves. Laborers they were. Now, they really had a chance. No longer slaves. A chance for life, liberty, to make a decent living. Yes, a chance for happiness, since freedom had finally been given. But soon they came to realize that they were still trapped, as in a cage. They were ragged and overworked and never paid a fair wage. Some were badly beaten, bruise on top of bruise. This was such a horrible life, one that no one would choose. The laborers thought, take the abuse in silence. They agreed not to say a word. If we dare speak up, we really won't be heard. We've tried to speak up before and it seems like a big fat curse. Because when we do speak up, things just get much worse. Don't talk, don't say anything. Be silent and obey. Or those that are in power will surely make you pay. You'll pay with your life. You really could die. So be safe, be silent, and don't you even try. With heads bent down, eyes on the ground. This wasn't any fun. The laborers worked so very hard in the hot and scorching sun, chopping sugarcane in the fields all the day long, loading donkey carts while singing a soft gospel song. 30 years later, 1878 was the year. A woman named Mary Thomas stepped out of the fear. She had had enough of the bullying, unfair treatment, and hunger. So Mary rallied the laborers with her voice as loud as thunder. Enough of this! We must unite! We are human beings and this is not our plight. Things got riled up, and what ensued was a fight. Laborers against landowners and soldiers, battling throughout the night. Sugarcane fields were burned, plantations were too. The laborers had to fight barefoot, as none even had a shoe. The oppressors had guns, ships, and tactics. The laborers only had knives, torches, and axes. It wasn't a fair fight. How could it really be? But the laborers were so desperate to be free. Lives spent in bondage, they needed unity to take a stand and gain their true destiny. So fight they did, and many lives were lost. But at struggle's end, the landowners recognized their cause. Change did come, slow as it was. After the revolt, there were some new laws. Some learned fast, some learned slow, but that horrible treatment just had to go. We are all born equal with the same human rights. None of it matters. Our color, our shape, our height. We all have the same creator, both you and I. Does it matter if one is bold and the other is shy? Can't we all get along, working together in peace? Build each other up. That's right. Wouldn't you agree? When we see someone being bullied, lied about, and abused, let the truth be found in us, because each one of us can be used to build up and make this world a better place, used to make a difference in each and every case. Miss Lulu finished the lesson just as the school bell chimed. The class had gone by so quickly, and now it was that time. Time for lunch, James thought with a sense of dread and fear. This was when bullying was worst. He approached an empty chair. James sat by himself. His food may as well have been dirt. He ate so fast without tasting it, just so he could leave before getting hurt. But before he could leave, here came bullies 1, 2, and 3. James cried to himself, "Please don't pick on me." One gave him a shove. The others laughed in glee. James glanced at the nearest door to see if he could flee. James waited, afraid for what would happen next. Then Kenny, from history class, he walked over and he was vexed. Behind Kenny came others. Yes, to James's defense they came. The 3 bullies slunk away to go and hide their shame. Never before had anyone stood up for James in this kind way. But now, things were different. Change had come to stay. Today things were a lot better because of Miss Lulu. She shared a story of courage. Now how about you? In our hearts, we know what's right. We know what's wrong as well. And most of all, when we see bad, we know it's right to tell. Stand strong, stand proud, and be a friend to all. And when you hear a cry for help, be sure to answer the call. No matter race, beliefs, or skin, no matter boy or girl, stick together, stand with each other, and make ours a better world. This is not the end. This is the beginning. Help write a story where everybody wins. This book is dedicated to all the Jameses out there, young or old, boy or girl, who struggle to fit into this challenging world. May you find love, protection, and glee. May you find hope and never need to flee. May the Kennys rise up with courage and grace, helping the friendless to find a safe, happy place. Thank you for listening. So my encouragement is that each of us, we stand up and we become the voice for those who cannot speak for themselves. Now, many of you, you may have seen bullying. You may have been bullied. You may have been a bully. I'm asking you, let's stop the bullying. Let's stop that behavior. It hurts. It's not useful. If you're being bullied, tell an adult, tell your parents. I know as I talked about the story, there's this silence that happens because we're afraid that things will get worse. But they're not going to get better if you don't tell anyone. If you are watching this happen, tell someone. You may not feel safe to speak up and say something because you might be afraid of getting hurt by the bully yourself. But tell someone. How would you feel if that were you and no one said anything? This hurts. It's a horrible thing. And nowadays, we have ways that we can protest. Back in the 1800s, when the Fireburn happened, there was no such thing as for the blacks or people who weren't perceived as equal to have peaceful protest or to vote. But nowadays, those are things that we can do. We can talk about it. We can have peaceful protests. We can vote for change. We can help be the change that we want to see. So that's my encouragement to you, that we don't go out there and burn down those sugarcane fields and buildings and hurt one another, but that we join together and we create change by standing together, walking in love and peace and helping create that change. I love you. Bye.